Welcome back. I'm Naa Sydnia. Today, we continue our journey through Ecclesiastes with Ecclesiastes 10, where Solomon gives us the difference between wise and foolish living and the result of such. The proverbs discussed in this chapter are just as relevant now as they were back then. So, let's get started. We'll explore how small acts of foolishness can ruin great things, why wisdom is better than strength, and how to navigate life's complexities with discernment. If you're ready for some life-changing biblical wisdom that you can apply immediately, smash that like button and let's dive in. Small foolishness, big consequences. Let's begin with verse 1, which sets the tone for the entire chapter. As dead flies give perfume a bad smell, so a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor. What a vivid picture. Imagine the most expensive, beautiful perfume ruined by just a few dead flies. That's what foolishness does to a life built on wisdom and honor. One moment of poor judgment, one foolish decision, one careless word can undo years of building a good reputation. This isn't meant to discourage us, but to make us vigilant. Small compromises lead to big consequences. A little pride, a small lie, a moment of anger, these seemingly minor things can have major impacts on our lives and relationships. The heart's direction. Verse 2 gives us insight into the fundamental difference between wisdom and foolishness. The heart of the wise inclines to the right, but the heart of the fool to the left. In ancient Hebrew culture, the right side symbolized strength, favor, and correctness, while the left side represented weakness or wrongness. This isn't about political parties, it's about moral and spiritual direction. The wise person's heart naturally gravitates toward what is right, good, and beneficial. The fool's heart pulls them toward what is wrong, harmful, and destructive. This shows us that wisdom and foolishness aren't just intellectual concepts. They're matters of the heart, our deepest desires and inclinations. Foolishness reveals itself. Verse 3 shows us how foolishness inevitably exposes itself. Even as fools walk along the road, they lack sense and show everyone how stupid they are. Foolishness can't stay hidden. It reveals itself in how people walk through life. Their decisions, their words, their reactions to circumstances. The fool doesn't just make poor choices privately, their lack of wisdom becomes obvious to everyone around them. This should make us examine ourselves. What does our walk reveal about our hearts? Are we displaying wisdom or foolishness in our daily interactions? Dealing with authority. Verses 4 through 7 address how to handle difficult relationships with those in authority. If a ruler's anger rises against you, do not leave your post. Calmness can lay great offenses to rest. There is an evil I have seen under the sun, the sort of error that arises from a ruler. Fools are put in many high positions, while the rich occupy the low ones. I have seen slaves on horseback while princes go on foot like slaves. When facing an angry authority figure, Solomon advises staying calm and not abandoning your position. Gentle persistence and respectful composure can often diffuse even serious conflicts. But Solomon also acknowledges a frustrating reality. Sometimes incompetent people get promoted, while qualified people are overlooked. Sometimes the social order gets turned upside down. This isn't how things should be, but it's often how things are. Wisdom helps us navigate these imperfect systems without becoming bitter or foolish ourselves. The consequences of our actions. Verses 8 through 9 use vivid metaphors to show how our action can backfire. Whoever digs a pit may fall into it. Whoever breaks through a wall may be bitten by a snake. Whoever quarries stones may be injured by them. Whoever splits logs may be endangered by them. These aren't just observations about physical labor, they're metaphors for life. When we try to harm others digging a pit, we often end up harming ourselves. When we break down protective boundaries, breaking through walls, we expose ourselves to danger. The person quarrying stones or splitting logs represents honest work, but even legitimate activities carry risks. Life is inherently dangerous, and we need wisdom to navigate it safely. Every action has potential consequences, both intended and unintended. Preparation and skill matter. Verse 10 emphasizes the importance of preparation and skill. If the axe is dull and its edge is unsharpened, more strength is needed, but skill will bring success. This is brilliant, practical wisdom. Working harder isn't always the answer. Working smarter is. A sharp axe with skilled handling accomplishes more than a dull axe with brute force. In our lives, this means investing in developing our skills, sharpening our minds, and preparing well for our tasks, whether it's in our careers, relationships, or spiritual lives. Skill and preparation often matter more than raw effort or natural talent. The power and danger of words. Verses 11 through 14 focus on the incredible power of words. If a snake bites before it is charmed, the charmer receives no fee. Words from the mouth of the wise are gracious, but fools are consumed by their own lips. At the beginning their words are folly, at their end they are wicked madness. And fools multiply words. No one knows what is coming. Who can tell someone else what will happen after them? The snake charmer metaphor suggests that timing matters with words. Sometimes we speak too late to be helpful, like a snake charmer who arrives after the bite. Wise people speak graciously. Their words heal, encourage, and build up. But fools are consumed by their own lips. Their words eventually destroy them. Notice the progression. Foolish words start as mere folly but end as wicked madness. And here's a key insight. Fools multiply words. They talk too much, especially about things they don't understand. Since no one knows the future, wisdom suggests speaking with humility and restraint. The futility of misdirected energy. Verse 15 gives us a humorous but poignant observation. The toil of fools wearies them. They do not know the way to town. This is almost comical. Imagine someone so lacking in basic knowledge that they can't even find their way to town, yet they exhaust themselves with useless labor. The fool works hard, but accomplishes little because they lack basic wisdom and direction. How often do we see this today? People burning themselves out on activities that don't really matter while neglecting the fundamentals. They're busy but not productive, active but not effective. Leadership and its consequences. Verses 16 through 17 contrast good and bad leadership. Woe to the land whose king was a servant and whose princes feast in the morning. Blessed is the land whose king is of noble birth and whose princes eat at a proper time, for strength and not for drunkenness. This isn't about social class, but about character and competence. A king who was a servant likely refers to someone unprepared for leadership, while princes who feast in the morning represents leaders who indulge themselves instead of serving their people. Good leaders have noble character and self-discipline. They eat at a proper time and for strength, not drunkenness, meaning they take care of themselves appropriately but don't indulge in excess. Whether we're leading a family, a team, or an organization, this principle applies. Leadership requires character, discipline, and putting others' needs before our own comfort. The dangers of laziness. Verse 18 uses a house metaphor to warn against laziness. Through laziness, the rafters sag. Because of idle hands, the house leaks. Neglect has consequences. Just as a house deteriorates without maintenance, our lives fall apart without consistent effort and attention. This applies to our relationships, our health, our finances, our spiritual lives. Everything requires ongoing investment. The sagging rafters and leaking house represents a gradual decline that comes from neglect. Problems don't usually happen overnight. They develop slowly through inattention and laziness. Money's role and limitations. Verse 19 gives us a realistic perspective on money and celebration. A feast is made for laughter, wine makes life merry, and money is the answer for everything. This might sound like Solomon is endorsing materialism, but he's being observational, not prescriptive. In practical, earthly terms, money does solve many problems. It buys food for feasts, provides security, and opens doors. But remember, this is the same Solomon who said money never satisfies in earlier chapters. He's acknowledging money's practical utility while maintaining that it's not the ultimate answer to life's deepest needs. Wisdom in speech about authority. The chapter concludes with verses 20, emphasizing discretion. Do not revile the king even in your thoughts or curse the rich in your bedroom, because a bird in the sky may carry your words, and a bird on the wing may report what you say. This is ancient wisdom about the danger of careless speech, even in private. In Solomon's time, speaking against the king could be deadly. Today, we might think of how private conversations can become public through social media, recordings, or gossip. The principle is broader than politics. Be careful what you say about anyone, even in private. Words have a way of getting back to people, and character is revealed not just in public speech, but in private thoughts and conversations. Practical application. So how do we apply Ecclesiastes 10 to our lives today? First, guard against small compromises. Remember the dead flies in perfume? Little acts of foolishness can ruin great reputations. Second, cultivate a heart that inclines toward wisdom. This isn't just about making smart decisions, it's about developing desires and instincts that naturally lean toward what's right. Third, let your actions reveal wisdom, not foolishness. People are watching how you walk along the road of life. Please believe they are watching you. Fourth, respond to difficult authority with calmness and respect. Don't abandon your post when facing conflict. Fifth, sharpen your skills and prepare well. Work smarter, not just harder. Sixth, use words wisely. Speak graciously, avoid multiplying words unnecessarily, and be careful what you say, even in private. Seventh, avoid laziness in all areas of life. Maintain your relationships, health, and responsibilities consistently. Finally, maintain perspective on money. Use it wisely, but don't expect it to solve life's deepest problems, because it can't. In reading Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, we realize that life is not just a big series of giant dramatic choices. It's little choices daily that steer your direction in life. If we make wise choices consistently, we have a life of honor. But if we make foolish choices consistently, then our life goes into a ditch. What type of life are you trying to live? What type of choices are you making daily? Thank you for watching. And as always, God bless you. Live wisely and keep the faith.